It sounds to me like that's really what you've been going through is stopping the tour bus, stopping the train, stopping it all, putting it all to one side, putting it on a shelf or putting it in the bin and then going, who actually am I as a human being when I'm not in Paramore?
Yes, that's why we took the time off.
I guess you were always supposed to be a solo artist. That's as far as the label were concerned. That's why they signed you. So they got you in the end. It took them a long time.
Their plan worked.
It was very Machiavellian. It was very patient and long-winded. I respect it.
It's how I go.
Don't worry about it. Let it go through a whole lot of trials, tribulations, challenges, personal tragedies. Come out the other side. She'll want to make a solo record. Trust me, it'll happen.
It's so hard to start. But it's hard to start anything, right? It's hard to start a record. It's hard. I mean, it's hard to start. Think about your career way, way long ago if you knew all the things you were going to have to do before today, being right here where you are today. Like, you don't want to know all the things that you're going to have to go through. You really don't want to know.
Well, I think that's really the essence of depression is that when it gets from being scared about what's going to happen in 10 years or a year, you become scared about what's going to happen in a day.
Yeah.
And then you get scared about what's going to happen in an hour.
Right.
And then you get scared about what's happening right then. And then you've got nowhere else to go. And then you're paralyzed.
Yeah.
And I think that that's when it gets really bad. And the only way that you can actually get past that is with the help of others and communication, transparency, and a stare down. You got to stare it down.
Yeah, man, you do. And I seriously did not, like, starting that journey, I did not think it would have been beneficial for me to channel it through music because that's all I've ever done. And I guess I thought, oh, you need to do something different or you're going to get, and I included music in that. You're going to get the same results if you keep doing the same shit.
And also maybe subconsciously you're thinking like, how do I bring this to Taylor and Zach? I mean, they know and love me and they've been through everything, but this is a whole other thing.
It's like dropping all your baggage, all your heaviness on someone and saying like, you sort through it because I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
It's one thing to be like, I'm going to write and sing this. I'm going to handle this. And I just want you to like hold my back. Like, I just want to feel your hand on my back and know that you're here. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like when I think about putting this out as a Paramore album, it doesn't do justice to the stories themselves. And it doesn't do justice to the band. It really doesn't.
Well, even if you just break it down the fact that we're having this conversation and there's shows to be done and all this, as I've said at the beginning, this infrastructure, which you're willingly now building around this body of work, which includes situations like this, like how do Taylor and Zach contribute to this conversation? Mm. So in its very nature, in some ways, you just got to see it through. So you had to. I mean, you had to, right?
Yeah.
And when you started that first song, did it make the cut, the first song?
Yeah.
When you wrote that song and that opening line, right? Mm. Oh, wow, you started with grief.
Yeah.
You started with grief. You didn't start with rage or lust or mercilessness.
Yeah.
You started with grief.
Yeah.
Just when I'm ready to love myself, those around, the people I love start to die.
Yeah.
Wow.
It really sucks that you do have to dig through the dirtiest shit to find like the diamonds or something, you got to burn all of it off. My family went through something insane in the middle of I'm doing all this work on childhood stuff and traumas, and I'm terrified of losing people, obviously. And my Nana, who is my mom's mother, had this terrible fall. And it was right after, it was the day, her and I share a birthday. She's 50 years older than me, so she's 81 now. The day after her 80th, my 30th, she fell like all the way down my mom's stairs, and head trauma, like the kind of thing that we had said goodbye to her, right? And the weirdest thing is that she got better, but it prolonged the grief because she's not really here with us. She doesn't really remember everything. Thankfully, she knows who I am. She knows who my mom is, but she really doesn't. It was so tough and felt like there was a lot of death at the time. People that we knew, a lot of disease, like family, friends and stuff. And I just thought, like, what is the point of loving people? Like, why? Even in the best case scenario is I fall in love, we have a life together, and then we lose one or the other.
So that is one of the greatest paradoxes of all time.
Yeah.
And the ultimate test for any love. Mm. That is it.
Yeah.
because I have these thoughts as well.
Yeah.
And it's immediately makes you want to protect yourself. But
It's
then you're not
terrifying.
going to have the experience.
Yeah, then you don't. The more you love, the more you stand to lose. But it's like the more I let it, like I mean, I struggle with it all the time.
Yeah.
And
Because you're
that's
terrified of losing people.
I'm so scared of. I am not afraid of me going. I'm not afraid of that. I don't even fear how it would ever happen, you know. And I've been on the brink. I mean, the darkest depression, all of that. Like that doesn't bother me. But thinking about losing other people, oh man, like
Is that what's all right? We're just going to go there.
okay.
When you're in the darkest place
Mm-hmm.
and those thoughts cross your mind, like we have to address it for what it is. I'm sure everyone has. I have. You've had suicidal thoughts.
Yeah.
You've thought about it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is it the thought of others losing you
Mm.
rather than you being afraid to leave that ultimately brings you back into the place? What keeps you moving forward?
During After Laughter, it was really rough, and my dog is the reason I'm alive, because he would have been waiting on me to get home, no matter what. And you know how you know little sweet little puppies just like sit and they wait, and I couldn't think about it, and so oh whoa. Never cried in an interview before. So yeah, I just couldn't. And I'm glad, you know, cause life is still hard. It didn't become just like a breeze, you know, overnight or anything. And it's been years and it's still not a breeze. But it's so rich. And now that I'm taking account of all these feelings and I'm feeling all of them, there's this beautiful rainbow versus just the deep end, you know? Yeah.
These are the experiences that ultimately lead to this greater purpose that you ultimately feel. And when you get there and you recognize like your whole value system change. And then you look back on what you were aspiring to try to achieve and what you thought was going to make you happy and fill you up and give you this joy. And you realize it's all just these superficial things that really comes down to who you are as a person and how you look at yourself and how you see yourself. That is the journey. That is the greatest, hardest bridge you'll ever cross.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. To be effective as a nurturer, you gotta cross it.
Yes.
You gotta cross it.
You know what did it for me is thinking about, have you ever done EMDR in therapy? You ever done like visualization that's guided?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. In fact, that was very effective for me.
It's powerful.
Yeah.
I had to do work on these questions that I had for my mom, right? And I was asked to see myself during this time frame that I was that was spinning in my memory, and I was probably 4 or 5, and I was asked to hold her. So you don't think of that person as yourself right at first. You think this is a innocent child that like doesn't deserve to grow up in a shitty world. And you start to realize the power in you to take care and to protect. And at the same time I was going through this, you had Bird Box out on Netflix. You had like Handmaid's Tale, and like Moms were Peppermint with Jennifer Garner. You had all these movies and
all these super protective,
like revenge films. And
because nothing cuts like a mother.
That's where it comes from, because I realized, now I think that it's actually innate in all of us. I don't think you have to be a mom, you know, even a woman at all. I think it's innate in all of us to take care of. And it's learning to take care of ourselves that is so hard. And you, man, like I'm learning so much about it. Like you said, I'll never be perfect at it.
Nope. But now you appreciate the process.
Right. At least I'm doing it. At least I'm trying, right?
Well, the fact that you have taken and you are taking what you're learning and applying it into music, like you said, that's not a given here.
Yeah.
You could have come back around feeling better about yourself and made a Paramore record and let's move on. Let's write some fun songs. I feel great now. Life is great. The curtains are opened up and the sun is shining and everything's cool. Let's rock. Right? But we've got Petals for Armor and we've got these songs that deal in grief on Leave It Alone, that deal in rage. You know, the opening of the project, rage. Yeah. The first word, rage.
Yes.
I mean, it's awesome. It's an incredible way to start a project with that. It's like, man, deal with this in this really beautifully produced environment, which Taylor is just, I mean, God almighty, you guys are just perfect. Like he sees what you want to say and he's like a designer. He's like a fashion designer.
Yes.
He's like, I know exactly what your shape needs and how you're going to pop and how you're going to just stand out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so beautifully produced. And I know rage is a hugely powerful thing, but it's obviously something you had to learn to accept and wonder how you were going to control because, as you said, it just shows up in front of your face and comes out of nowhere.
For me, literally, like the way that I experience my anger is heat in my face. Like it is visceral. And I think I mostly tap into it without shame when it's for the sake of somebody else.
Right.
When it's for me, I go straight into shame. Oh man, you don't need to be feeling this. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. Taylor's the first person that ever told me anger is neither a bad nor a good emotion. It's an emotion. It's a feeling. It's a thing. And you don't have to assign it to something. Like just let it breathe. Just feel it. I had the hardest time being angry while we were writing After Laughter, and I clearly had a lot of shit to be mad about, but I was depressed. And I think often depression is masking other, more pointed feelings.
Well, you're trying to say something, but you're actually denying yourself the chance to do it.
Yes.
And therefore, you're creating a cage around yourself, which is the definition of depression.
Right. You're just blunting the edges of everything. Like you're just blunting your sword.
Let this EP as it stands, this project, I should say, Petals for Armor as it stands, stand right here, immerse yourself in it, love it. It's yours now to apply, right?
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much for doing this today.
Thank you.
I'm nervous. I'm excited. I feel all the feelings.